Every single trader knows the exact moment that I'm talking about. Something just goes wrong, a stop gets hit, a trade reverses right after you exit, or goes down right when you buy so fast. It might take 2, 3, 4 losses in a row super quick. And all of a sudden, you're just not thinking so clearly anymore. Something inside of you has shifted. And from that point forward, every decision you make is contaminated. There's a residue on it. And you by no means are trading your process anymore. You're completely reacting to your emotions. By the time you realize what's going on, the damage, well, it's already been done. That, my friends, is tilt. And if you can't learn to recognize it and manage it, it's just going to prevent you from ever really becoming a consistent, profitable trader over a long period of time. Look, I don't care how good your setups are, how much asymmetry you've found. I don't really care about any of your past successes, your entry and exits, your take profitability, because if tilt is running the show even 10% of the time, it's going to do so much more damage than anything good you've ever done. By the end of this video, you're going to really understand better what causes tilt, why it shows up in different ways for different people, and I'll give you some tangible ways to start catching it and managing it before it costs you another session, another week, another month, or your entire career here. Now, I'm James. I've been trading for over 13 years now, and yes, I've gotten better at dealing with tilt, but I've by no means gotten rid of it completely. I'm just done a lot better through my personal work about recognizing it as it's about to take over. But I am human, and it's something we all experience, even the best traders out there. So like for a lot of things I talk about, it's not necessarily about trying to eliminate a specific thing. Rather, how to best become aware of a problem and how to move through it. So let's start with actually what is happening when you're tilting. See, because it's not some sort of strategy problem or market structure issue. It's more of like an internal nervous system problem. When you take losses or something unexpected happens in the markets, your brain is going to register that as a threat. When that threat feels big enough, that prefrontal cortex, that part of your brain that is responsible for rational thinking, for planning, for discipline, that gets shut off. That's when your limbic system takes over, your sympathetic response, your fight or flight mode, right? You switch into survival mode. And once you enter that mode, you are by no means the same trader. You just physically can't be. That normal, clear decision-making buddy that you know, he's gone. He's offline. The switch is flipped off. That's why tilt can almost feel like a blackout period, like a fog of war. You look back at what happened, you can almost barely explain it because you don't even feel like that was you. And it was, but it wasn't, right? It was the reactive you. It was the emotional you. It's that version of you that's just trying to stop the pain, stop the bleeding. And it's really what triggers that pain that's a little bit different for everybody. For some people, it's the loss itself, the fact that the money is gone. The number on the screen just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. For others, it's not even about the money at all. It's just about being plain wrong because their whole identity is wrapped up in being somebody who's right. And when the market proves them wrong, it feels very personal, like an attack on who they thought they were. For some, it's FOMO. They feel like they've missed the biggest opportunity of their life. Now they're chasing and trying to make up for something that they didn't catch. What could have been for where everybody else, where it seems like everybody else is. And it could also be driven by fear. They got hurt and now they're scared to pull the trigger on anything. Every setup looks like a trap. It feels like manipulation. They just don't even know what to believe. And guess what? Underneath it all, the rage, the panic, FOMO, the fear, there lies deep insecurities. Some version of, I'm just not good enough. What am I even doing here? Why do I deserve success in this space? I'm destined to fail. What's the point? And that is all the foundation. That is the root here. And until you start looking honestly in the reflection, you're just going to be trying to slap band-aids on a lot of the symptoms from a bigger problem. Like I said, tilt is tricky because it looks different for everyone. Some people, they're going to tilt more hot. They're going to be more aggressive. They're going to size up. They're going to be revenge trading. They're going to be throwing on positions left and right, trying to make it back all by the end of the day. They're what you might call a loose cannon, and it's going to look like they're completely out of control. And quick side note, this is me. I mean, I'm a pretty chill guy, but there are plenty of times in my career where I will physically get hot. I will get hyper competitive, and I will feel the need to impose my will on the markets and try to make stuff happen. I'll be hunched over on the screen. I won't even be breathing for like an 8-hour period of time, what it feels like. And I'll look back and I'll be like, whoa, what was that? All for what? Just so I can make it back, make a little bit of back in this big marathon that's trading. Really, it's that I felt like the markets owed me something and that I was trying to prove something to myself or to other people. That honestly, my risk management is so good that I'm a winner, that I deserve only green. And by trying to combat it with just pure effort and pure grit, I would just dig bigger and bigger and bigger holes. And of course, like I've talked about before, that digging yourself big holes is not just that hole. There's second and third order effects, right? Then it leaves this psychological scar that I have to work through in the future that could end up making what could have been a couple days of loss turn into a couple months of trying to have this big recovery arc. So, then there's the flip side of this. There's the people who tilt in a more cold fashion. It's where they're shutting down, they pull back, they leave the market entirely. They might just close their laptop, slowly walk away. Not because they're being disciplined, but because they're just plain scared. They don't want to come back into the markets and they will do anything else rather than get back in that seat. But both people are tilting. One, it looks obvious. The other one, it's a little bit hard to see. One looks completely reckless and one looks almost responsible. But they're both very emotional, reactive decisions that completely take you out of your normal process. Yeah, the hot tilter, they could blow their account up in a day, sure. But the cold one can bleed their account through a low confidence, low belief, and mistake after mistake over weeks and months and end up in the same exact place. It's different symptoms, but the same disease. And of course, there's the flip side of this that nobody really talks about, which is winner's tilt. Imagine this, you're on a hot streak, everything is hitting, your P&L does nothing but go up and to the right faster than you've ever seen it. But something in your brain is shifting in the background. You start feeling invincible, as if you're one with the market, and you maybe push it. You size up a bit, the vibes are good, the setups and the risk that you're taking in each trade maybe changes from something that you would normally do. You just aren't rooted in your process because, let's be honest, you're hot right now. You're feeling the markets, so why not go for it? Your ego inflates and, your risk management goes to the wayside. You don't even really notice it's happening because honestly, your results are green, your P&L is up until, it isn't. One bad trade, a couple bad decisions in a row at that inflated size can actually take back so much of what you just made, or in the worst cases, even more. Then not only are you just back to even, but you might be in a worse spot psychologically than you were before the hot streak even took place. That winner's tilt, it's sneaky because it really feigns confidence. Feel like you're in the zone, but there's a very thin line between being in the zone and being completely out of control. Most people have no clue where that line is until they've completely crossed it. So, how do you deal with all of this tilt anyway? First, you gotta reflect and figure out which version are you? Are you tilting hot or do you tilt cold? Or are you somewhere in between? And then you need to start thinking about what triggers it. Is it gonna come down for you to just a certain dollar amount? Or is it the compounding of consecutive losers over time? That feeling of, God, I just know I'm going to lose the next one. I'm never winning anymore. Maybe it's a specific type of trade that goes wrong. Or maybe it's the time of day where you have a low energy and a very thin threshold with your patience. Maybe it's relationships or a long list of things that are adding stress to your life that are seeping their way into your trading psychology. You need to get specific here because tilt doesn't just randomly show up. There tends to be patterns here. And once you can recognize these patterns, you can start to just accept it, be okay with it, understand it, and then start to build systems in place to help deal with it. And then most importantly, you need to build a personal circuit breaker to insert right into your process and make it a non-negotiable. You need a predefined rule for when things get really out of hand to really cut off the snake, the head from the snake. This helps, prevent the damage from getting out of hand and for you to lose everything. For me, when I was working at my firm, they forced this on you. You had a daily limit down where if you hit that number, you had to stop trading, go discuss kind of what happened with the risk and compliance team. And then together you would deem whether or not you're in a good space to move forward that day, get more access to capital, or you'd have to kind of shut it down and come back the next day. But you don't have a risk team. You don't have compliance, right? You have you. So you need to put a system in place, a non-negotiable risk framework to come in and say, I am done. And no, not just one more trade or I'll size down or like not this time. No, you're done. Maybe it's not a number specifically, but maybe it's like a consecutive loss rule. 3 losers in a row and you have to step away for an hour. Maybe you got to make a phone call to somebody in your network to kind of talk through what you're thinking, get a little bit of feedback to see if you're actually thinking clearly. Maybe it's a sizing thing. Maybe like once you hit 2 trades in a row down, you have to size down and you actually have to earn your way back through being profitable to put your risk back on the table. Specifics don't matter as much as you implementing something and then being good about actually following that rule. And in the moment, trust me, I know this all too well, your brain is going to tell you that this is a bad idea, that this time is different, that you'll do better next time, you'll handle it. And that just with one more thing, I could fix this whole situation. But I'm telling you, your brain is lying to you. That is so dangerous. By the way, don't ever underestimate the power of a good long walk. I mean, we have the meme touching grass for a reason. It resonates. So moving forward, we need to figure out how can we separate the loss from the story itself. Because most of the time, it's not going to be the actual number of the loss that sends you on full-blown tilt. It's going to be the stories that you're telling yourself about the loss. Things like, I'm an idiot for taking that trade. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm never going to make it. I'm behind and I need to catch up. Everybody else is making money and I'm just sitting here twiddling my thumbs. All these stories build up over time and are fuel for tilt. And it could come down to one single event that can turn it into a full-blown identity crisis. In the end, it's just a loss or a few losses. It's data. It happened. So what's next? Well, the faster you can strip away a narrative from the result and just see it for what it is, faster you're going to be able to recover and move on. Right now, by the way, I would give yourself some grace. Markets are not easy. Everything is moving faster. Volatility is expanding. Geopolitical risk is crazy. It's tough out there. Maybe some setup that you had working a year ago or 3 months ago doesn't work today and it won't work into the future. So if you're struggling, it does not mean that you're broken. It often just means that the environment is shifting and you're not adjusting alongside it. It's not failure. That is literally the whole game of trading. Size back down, protect your capital, protect your psychology, and give yourself room to recalibrate without blowing yourself up in the process. Traders who survive these stretches are not just the ones who brute force their way through. They're the ones who can sit there and recognize that the markets are difficult, can adjust their exposure, and they can adjust their size until better conditions come. I mean, your bankroll is your lifeline, and tilting is the fastest way to cut that off. So you need to know your triggers. You need to build a personal circuit breaker. You need to stop telling yourself stories about what losses truly mean. And in these markets, have the humility, the respect to size down and not expect anything or deserve anything. In the end, you need to protect yourself to end up striving to end up succeeding in this game. Opportunities are abundant. They're always out there. There's always going to be more. You just need to make sure you still have your seat at the table when they come. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys. If you want to join my private Discord, it is in the link below in the description. Otherwise, there's so much coming in the next couple of years. Please try your best to hang on to money because you will have some crazy opportunities to really set you apart, to really outperform what the status quo is for most people out there. Okay, so that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Oh, and this is not financial advice. It's just for entertainment. Bye-bye.